being chased, thrown on the run, and it is caught. Touchdown, Keenan Allen. What a grab.
That's what I'm talking about. Hey, that's what I'm talking about. That's the warrior spirit right there, boy.
Huge sack by Joey Bosa.
90-yard touchdown. 90-yard touchdown.
That's going to be picked off at the 8-yard line by Derwin James.
Herbert sets his feet, takes a shot downfield, has Knighton. Caught. Touchdown, Chargers.
That's the greatest throw I've ever seen.
Alrighty, guys, what's going on? Welcome to the Thunder Down Under Chargers podcast. It's a bit of a special day today.
It is.
Got the big man in the building. Good to see you, Jackie boy.
Yeah, good to see you, mate. Good to see you.
It's been a lovely morning. The two of our young little families getting to meet one another for the first time, and it's great to be in the flesh with you.
Oh, it's very good. It's very good. It's wonderful to see you and your lovely partner and your little bundle of joy, Aussie. It's awesome to see. It's fantastic. We haven't seen each other since having kids, so it was awesome for them too to meet this morning. So
yeah,
feeling very lucky and very privileged today.
Yeah, and we thought, what better way for you being back in town than to take advantage of Al being away on holiday with his wife, and we thought we'd get up to a bit of fun and do a couple of Chargers mock drafts this morning. We'll start off by saying that none of our decisions, choices, views reflect anything that Alistair has worked tirelessly for over the last couple of months. Really leading the charge for our last couple of offensive and defensive prospect shows. So Jack and I are going to have a good whack of fun just going through a couple of draft scenarios. We'll start off this episode with a 7-round Chargers draft without trades.
Yeah.
So probably the less likely scenario of next weekend. When the draft comes around. If you guys have been had the time or been lucky enough to watch the recent press conference with Joe Ortiz and Chad Anderson, there was it's becoming less and less likely that the Chargers are going to stick and pick at 5.
Exciting. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Or they're pulling the wool over everyone's eyes, and they're trying to mislead people. And what is it? Harbaugh said that pick number 5 is essentially pick number 1.
Yeah.
That's the value of it.
That press conference really sort of said words to that effect, but also we're not going to the team's not just going to take anything for it. It's going to be a very valued pick, and will require a heck of an offering for a team to come up to 5 and pick their quarterback of the future or something like that. Maybe the potentially maligned Malik Neighbors at 5. Who knows? Lots sort of changed since we had a discussion last week on the offensive prospects.
And we've probably got to talk about, obviously, J.K. Dobbins was signed.
Yes.
So that probably affects some of our choices. So he's rounding off that running back room now. And links to Michael Thomas.
Michael Thomas has been spoken about, DJ Chark as well.
Yeah.
And still, lingering rumours of MVS. So potentially a candidate filling the gap of that vertical threat might, alter the course for where the Chargers look at offensive weapons. But yeah, it's interesting. We're definitely going to discuss as these drafts go. This mock draft goes along, who's available there and why or why not we would think it's likely or less likely to be an option for the Chargers wherever we be picking. So we're going to stick and pick it at number 5. It's a really interesting one because there's value to be had there, no doubt. However, the first 4 picks fall, there's going to be an element of value. There's also going to be this is really unlikely because we'd probably have to trade down. So it's going to be a bit of a blend of what we would do and what we sort of think is the most realistic approach as best as we can sort of.
I think so. I think that's a good way to do it.
Channel our Joe Ortiz and Chargers organizational philosophies for filling the holes in this roster. So, all right, we'll get straight into it. So
we're doing for our audio listeners, what we've got up now is we're doing the PFF mock draft simulator. For those of you viewing on YouTube, you can clearly now probably should see our screen. We're going to do a full 7 rounds. Even deep into the draft, whilst we might not know some of these names particularly well, I guess we can talk about roster construction and where we sort of see we might need some more bodies. In terms of the settings, because there are all these mock drafts have different settings and different ways to do it. We're keeping the normal settings that PFF has. We're going to go fast, not turbo, but we might have a look at sort of how the board falls. We're keeping all those sliders, so as I said, pretty normal. We're picking at 5. We're doing a no trade scenario for this one, and then maybe if we've got time, we might do a trading scenario. But if you're ready, Andy, man, let's go. Okay,
start the draft off.
All right, so enter draft, and the Chicago Bears are on the clock. Let's start the draft, and where do we go? Okay, so very interesting first 4 picks. The Chicago Bears select Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels goes number 2, JJ McCarthy goes number 3. And Odunze, is that how you pronounce it? Odunze goes number 4. So currently we sit with Marvin Harrison Jr. being the top pick on the board, Drake May, Malik Neighbours, Joe Alt. We essentially have the choice.
This is sort of scenario B for me. If I'm looking at it, I would have probably expected Maserati Marv to have flown off the board at pick 4 in a no trade scenario. Rome Odunze, I think since we spoke about him last week, discussing all the things about Malik Neighbours and being that flashy guy, I've really cooled on him. Just with the more that you hear about the off-field, the persona stuff, and just coming around to how well-rounded Rome Odunze is, I've really been sucked into all the chat there. So, look, I know what I'm doing here. If I'm sticking and picking, Jack, I think that if anyone was to see this sort of scenario happen where we're definitely picking at pick 5,
Yeah.
This is probably not what I would expect the Chargers to do.
Definitely not. No.
I don't know. Do I say it first? I want to hear what you have to say. Who would you take?
I mean, this is I don't know how realistic this situation is, but everyone does their mocks, right? Everyone does their mocks. All the pundits do it. And I can't remember a last draft where things tended to fall the way that they always do. Everyone's saying that maybe there's 4 quarterbacks in the first 5 picks. I can't not take Marvin Harrison Jr.
Thank you for saying that.
You can't not. if he's at 5, even though I love Brock Bowers, and I think maybe my analysis on the last show was a little bit in preparation for knowing that Marvin Harris is not going to be there. But how could you not take him? How could you not take Marv Harrison Jr.?
I think we move straight. Send the card in, and we sit and wait to see what happens with pick 37 now.
And weirdly enough, PFF have like the top need for the Chargers is running back, which that's different. I haven't seen that. That's changed.
No, that's been the way that it's been. They haven't really kind of factored in the free
Dobbins.
agency.
Yeah, okay.
The Gus the Bus and Dobbins. But
Yeah, all right.
don't think it's going to happen. A wide receiver at 5, but you can't not take Marvin Harrison Jr.
Nah.
So that's a win for us. I think.
I think that's an A+ pick, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's drawing far less criticism than trying to rationalise staying at 5 and picking a Rome Odunze, who in the ideal world you could move back to that 10 mark and expect that Odunze is there. It takes a huge need of wide receiver. That wide receiver 1, generational talent, off our. It really hits position of need and best player available for mine. So, right on. Here we are with.
We're at 30. Where are we? We're in second round now. But just have a look at how the board's fallen. So Drake May went immediately after us. Neighbours went to Tennessee. Quinion Mitchell went to Atlanta. We won't go through all of these, but Brock Bowers doesn't come off the board until pick 16, which is an interesting one. He goes to Seattle.
He's pretty common to see him going kind of 15 area to the Colts. It's also that positional value as well of the tight end. Just if you wouldn't mind, just how many tackles have we got going in the first round?
Oh, let's have a look. So we've got Joe Alt, so he's paired with Caleb Williams. So you've got a potential All-Pro tackle there. So 1, 2, Fuanga, I should say, went after him. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8. 8. 8 tackles, and then Zach Fraser is a centre. So, yeah, so you've got, and JPJ just went to Washington before us at pick 37. So you've got 10 offensive linemen in the first sort of round and a bit.
Yeah. Wow. And Zach Fraser going higher than Jackson Powers-Johnson.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, he's fallen a lot. I remember saying he's fallen a bit. And unfortunately, my favourite, Lad McConkey, went to the Cardinals at 35. However, we picked up Marvin Harrison, so not really a position of need.
Yeah, not too much to worry about there. I think we can afford to wait until the later rounds to look at a speedier slot guy, perhaps. All right, so
This is weird now. This is a hard pick.
yeah, you've
Gosh.
got Mikey Senra still, obviously that sort of versatile defensive back, sitting there. Got a couple of quarterbacks, sort of those later ones.
Michael Penix.
You've got value in. You've still got Jordan Morgan, the tackle from Arizona.
Yeah, you've got. I mean, geez. I mean, the next tight end is Jatavion Sanders. But I mean, he's PFF's 43 ranked player, and he's not being drafted until sort of at 52, 53. This is a tough one. You've also got Tyler Nubin there, which a lot of people are thinking that he might actually go earlier than perhaps people are thinking. From memory.
Well, it's just like the slightly like the borderline cream of a pretty rubbish crop on the safety market. So that's really like for mine, I think that's a bit of a desperation pick. I see a best player available and a position of need here again. Personally,
I mean, Peyton Wilson's there, the linebacker out of North Carolina State, but are we going to invest another, high pick into linebacker? I know it's a new regime with Ortiz and Harbaugh, but the Kenny Murray burn is still burning a little bit raw. I don't know. What are you thinking?
I'm looking at Mikey.
Yeah,
personally.
he looks. Yeah,
it's definitely a need for the team. Cornerback. I don't kind of read too much into the value of the needs of the positions when you're looking at these mock drafts. But I feel like Mikey Sanders still, it's a scheme fit. He knows the system.
It's a leadership fit.
It's a leadership guy. There's versatility in his playing roles. He is similar to Derwin James in the regard of like how he'd be used, sort of more closer to the line of scrimmage in the box, doing a bit of nickel stuff as well. But I see value in that. I think Derwin will flourish with less hats that he has to wear.
I agree.
And I think when you've got another versatile guy in the lineup that will fit right in, and with where our defensive back room is at the minute, he's a day one on the field, leadership, knows what he's doing. I would find it hard pressed for me to look past this, and I think that this would be like a new Chargers team guy.
Yeah. And I think learning behind Derwin James, given Sandra Still's versatility, could be really positive too. But I mean, then I put my Ortiz hat on, and they've flashed. Have they splashed and flashed? Probably not. It's their unsexy picks at cornerback. We've talked about those free agent signings, and are you going to spend high draft capital on Sandra Still? It makes sense, as we talked about all the connections. I just don't see anyone else here that. And funnily, we're not doing trade backs here, but PFF aren't giving us even a trade back scenario. So, are we going to go Mikey?
Yeah, scroll down just with those guys who are still available. Like, there's a lot of wide receivers.
Ricky Pearsall's there, Roman Wilson's there again. Another Michigan. Javon Bullard at safety, but I mean, we're getting into
Rakestraw Jr.'s like not a bad option as well.
Yeah.
You've got Chris Jenkins there.
Yeah, Chris Jenkins.
You're looking to beef up the line. If you're picking at 37, probably a little bit of a reach.
Yeah.
When there are some pretty fun, versatile defensive interior guys that will be there in that sort of 69 pick out third rounder, and maybe even 105. You get a guy with like a high floor. A lower floor but a higher ceiling kind of prospect that I think can work. So for me, where we're sitting with the option,
with the value,
I think I'm taking
Mikey. It's just unfortunate because I think if Jackson Powers Johnson was there, or Jazan Newton who went a couple of picks earlier, are you picking them over Mikey?
I think I I'm more a yes on Johnny Newton than
so am I.
Jackson Powers-Johnson,
Yeah.
but to have both of them fall to within reach of that second round pick is it's a pretty crazy scenario, but that's the fun randomness of these.
That's right. All right. Mikey saying we're still. So we've actually gone 2 positions of need. We've hit wide receiver. We've hit cornerback.
Yep.
Done. All right, Mikey. All right. 3rd round pick coming up. Ricky Pearsall goes. Jordan Hicks. Rook Hororo. Just Malachi Corley goes to the Patriots just before us. Funnily enough, Michael Penix Jr. is still on the board. I'm seeing a name that I really like here straight away. Where else have we got? Chris Jenkins goes to San Fran at pick 63, so he was well within. Jonathan Brooks, actually, I was maybe thinking that could be a running back option in the 3rd round for us, but he goes to Baltimore.
Yeah, obviously looking past the recent injury history and relying a lot more on what they saw before that.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to sit behind Derrick Henry, right? So, and learn from him. TJ Tampa went to the Buffalo Bills at 60. Edgerrin Cooper. So that Blake Corum, geez, that's high.
Yeah.
Wow, goes to Tampa Bay at pick 57.
All right, so with what's on the board there, who's the name? Like, we're currently looking at 5 names. Who's the guy that you are really liking out of this? We've got Michael Penix Jr., who we're not going to pick, obviously. Brandon Coleman as the tackle at TCU. I don't know much of him. I don't think you do.
No.
Either, necessarily. We've got Christian Haynes, a guard from Connecticut.
There's my boy.
Yeah, right. Marshawn Nealand, Western Michigan edge, who had some awesome tape and stats, even playing at a sort of smaller school. Jalen Wright is a pretty fun one.
Jalen Wright is fun.
And then just below that, we've got linebacker from Michigan, Junior Colson. Before that, probably third or 4th tier of tackles with Blake Fisher out of Notre Dame, who obviously played alongside opposite Joe Alt.
You got Trey Benson there as well from Florida State, which at halfback, running back, which is not too bad. I mean, my pick would be Christian Haynes straight away.
Right, talk me through that.
Well, you've taken 2 sort of skill position players.
Yep.
We do need some versatility along the offensive line and the defensive line. I think it makes sense. Christian Haynes, is looking at that where he's 60. We're picking at pick 69, average draft position 65. Michael Penix, obviously not a as you said, he wouldn't pick. I just think you've got to beef it up. I don't think Blake Fisher at tackle, he's probably not a day one starter. I see Christian Haynes maybe developing into somebody in the second half of the season.
Yeah.
And then we're going down to Malik Washington. I mean, there's Cooper Beebe, which is one of Alistair's favourites.
And he's a guy that, as I'm just sort of scrolling down the guys who are available, we could be looking at value in Cooper Beebe at 105.
Yeah.
Right? You can see, the guys watching on YouTube can see that with Michael Penix still there at 69, there are 9 trade options. So if this was the sort of trade scenario one, you could have teams trying to come up from anywhere for Penix.
Well, what are you thinking?
Well, look, as we're talking about Cooper Beebe still being available there, I see the positional value of a guard. I'm not discounting this as like probably a need. I want to harp on that presser again. You're never one player away for the depth in a position group, and even if that position group is full, which I don't really think the Chargers have any full, maybe edge.
Yeah,
right?
edge
would probably be the closest, discarding quarterback, of course. Yeah. But edge would be the closest to like a complete positional group that the Chargers have. If that player is there to add to that depth, there's nothing wrong with that kind of philosophy based off what Ortiz was talking about. Even though the team has brought in... I've got arguments for Jalen Wright. I think he would be the perfect kind of complement of a running back to the 3 guys that we now have in the building this year, with even with J.K. Dobbins, who 5.8 yards per carry when healthy, and that is
that's the kicker, right? Yeah,
and
that's the
I don't think we're going to be relying on him to be the sort of bell cow or anything like that. It's going to be a really shared load. But Jalen Wright possesses some awesome speed. Is around 3 too high for a running back?
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, it seems the running back positional value is just dropping and dropping every year. You know?
Yeah.
Or do we take a punt? And because we both like Cooper Beebe sitting at 10. I mean, we've got to pick at 105. Do we hope that he falls? Do we leave Haynes? And do we get more value if we are able to get Beebe there and then put Jalen Wright? I mean, that's 3 skill position players in the first 3 rounds, which I think is highly unlikely that would happen in a real life scenario. But do we take a punt? What do you reckon?
See, I'm now also thinking Junior Colson as well. Linebacker is a big need for the team.
Yeah, you see Junior there. I mean, we're creating the Los Angeles Wolverines a little bit with Sandra Still and Colson.
It sounds better than the Los Angeles Ravens.
Yeah, it does a bit.
To be fair,
that's true.
Look, I mean, convince me either way, to be honest.
It just makes sense that with Dobbins and with Gus the Bus, maybe we try and do this as real as possible and go, if Christian Haynes is sitting there in the 3rd round, I think it's a 3rd round guard.
Yeah.
Okay. And the question is, if Cooper Beebe is still there in the 4th round, do you pick him as well? Let's see what happens. So, folks, Christian Haynes.
All right, we're taking Christian Haynes.
We're taking Christian Haynes. Okay, don't mind that. All right. And Michael Penix
on some
goes.
shore up the middle of the offensive line.
Oh, I tell you what. Cooper Beebe might still be here, is he? No, he is gone. He has gone. What happened in that 3rd round? Spencer Rattler goes very high, goes to Green Bay. Interesting. Anything else that sticks out to you? Ooh.
Yeah, see, they're the kind of guys who I consider to be the complementary running back styles. Jalen Wright, Bucky Irving, small, twitchier guys. They've both gone around that pick 80 mark.
Yeah.
Ray Davis at 85 too. So it's really kind of thinning out the running back room, which I'm less concerned about now that we've brought in J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah.
I still think that the room is not complete. I'm still not sure what the future holds for Isaiah Spiller.
Mr. Spiller, yeah.
Now that you've got 3 sort of similar guys.
And now he is now the 3rd option again, unfortunately. You'd think that. I mean, you're probably not telling Dobbins. If Dobbins is healthy, he's clearly number 2, and Gus the Bus is... Well, depending on situation, I think, field situation and play situation, what you're going to do. I mean, Cooper Beebe goes at 90, so, 15 rounds.
Yeah, I think Spiller's role is a bit, unfortunately, guilty until proven innocent at the moment.
Unfortunately.
And might just...
All right, well, who have we got? I mean... Again, a name sticks out. One of Alistair's favourites.
Yeah.
In there, to round out that tight end room, that might be very much a.
Actually, 2 of the guys there. We've got Cade Stover from Ohio State available, and Jared Wiley.
And Wiley, yeah.
Al spoke a lot about Jared Wiley on the last show.
Cameron Kitchens, which is the safety. Kalen Carson, Hunter Norza, Jamari Thrash, the guy that I thrashed in terms of my analysis. I didn't think he was very particularly strong, but he's got speed. But do you take another wide receiver? I don't think you do. Michael Pratt's he's the first pick. He's a QB from Tulane. Tyrone Tracy. Do you know much about Tyrone Tracy?
Yeah, I did look in a little bit. There's just like a bit of drop off production, and he's kind of. I feel like his value is on the way out. Just the way that it's been going. In terms of the role that he would play, not off the top of my head, as a great kind of option to complement this current room. Look, I would be completely fine with tight end here.
Yeah.
And I know more about Stover than I do Wiley. I have seen that people don't really think that Cade Stover's a Chargers fit, but I'm picking at the moment, and I'm probably taking Stover over Wiley, just with where it sits. Hunter Norzad would be great to sit for a year.
He's dropped a lot, though, in boards.
And then, you've got some former injured, Goncalves had some injury problems at tackle.
Yeah. And I mean, listen, Tavondre Sweat is sitting there. I know that there's some issues off field with him, but he was part of that Texas line, that defensive line, which is have we hit on defense yet? We haven't.
Just corner.
But
Just
Sainer
corner.
still, yeah. I mean, Eichenberg's sitting there, but we do have pick 110.
Yeah.
So
We've got two picks within 5, so I feel like you can be a little bit more luxurious here.
Yeah.
Take one guy and then see what happens with the next 4 picks to follow.
And I think Stover. I mean, will Stover help in the run game?
Yeah.
He's not I don't think he's a poor tight end. He's definitely no Brock Bowers. Let's get it. But you've taken your first 2 picks are high upsides. Well, Marvin Harrison arguably could be the best player in this draft, but high upside skill position. You've helped out beef up the offensive line. Now you're going to help, really fortify that offensive line as well with a pretty decent blocking tight end in Cade Stover. Good name too.
Yeah, it's fun.
All right, Cade Stover it is. And we're picking straight away.
Just about.
So just for the listeners, we've gone Marvin Harrison, Mikey Sainer still,
Christian Haynes,
Cade Stover.
Yep.
Okay, so are we looking at a defensive player here now? We've gone 3 and 1. Are we looking at a defensive player? So we're picking almost. So Tyrone Tracy's there. He's PFF's number 1 rated. Cameron Kitchens is still there. Norzad's still there. Thrash is there. Jarian Jones, who I don't know too much about at cornerback. Blake Watson, Isaiah Davis, Jacob Cowing, Tyke Smith, Aeneas Smith. Yeah, interesting one.
Yeah, look, I'm not kind of thinking that we're forced to take a defensive player here.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's finding that balance between who is the best player kind of available. I'm pretty high on that mid-round approach to like a Cameron Kitchens. Safety is a room that we can definitely improve on,
we're
especially
sort of
not
one
knowing with
injury away from.
Yeah, for sure. We're not quite sure where JT Woods is at, if anywhere, and I don't think it's something that you can kind of cast that position aside to say, it doesn't matter what happens. As you said, it's one injury away.
And that was a Staley pick too. JT Woods was we see him as playing this. I mean, he never sort of, really has. I mean, mind you, though, Aloha Gilman took quite a while to be the player that he is today. And how are we going to expect Derwin James to play every single game this year? He's getting a little bit older. There's been those suspension issues as well. Those hard tackles and things. So, I mean, I would expect him to play every game.
I would expect him to mature away from that kind of on-field behaviour.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't really like that. Like he plays hard, but he wasn't an idiot.
No.
He just made some. And I think a lot of what we saw on the defensive side of the ball, even Joey Bosa to a degree with like the helmet smash and stuff, there was a lot of frustration because the light was on that Chargers team, that defensive team, and they were getting flogged. Pants pulled down, sort of stuff.
And I wonder if Staley almost put too much on them. I wonder, as you said, I think it's a great comment you made before about, Derwin James just was asked to do too much.
Yeah.
He's a generational, surely he's a generational player. I mean, he was one of the best safeties, or he's rated one of the best safeties, but maybe you should just let him play. Don't make him green dot. Don't try and do this. Don't just get him in a position and dominate the game.
He played way better when the play calling duties were taken off his hands after he missed a couple of games of injury. When it went to Kenny Murray.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, that was the best thing for his game too, which...
Enjoy that, Tennessee.
All right. So we do have an option kind of to reach a little bit for the big fella in the middle of the line. There is off-field stuff, and I can never be sure if Al's joking when he drops like, yeah, but I only had 20 cans. I think he is kidding. There is that, because we're looking at like a lot of guys. Like, I don't see too much value in taking like a Blake Watson or Isaiah Davis.
No.
You seem to be quite cool on Hunter Norzad in the middle of the line. Cam Kitchens is there, available. Maybe maybe there is
Maybe sweat
maybe it's
drops.
maybe it's worth just sort of sitting on that.
Yeah. And remember, we have a freshly inked Harbour as well. He's got the street cred. He's got the Michigans 15-0, whatever. We saw that on the Chargers social media.
So we should have taken Junior Colson last round.
Yeah. I don't know. Do we shore up safety or do we shore up the middle of the defensive line? I mean, Braylon Allen's sitting there, but I still think at 110 that's a bit of a reach.
Yeah, see, Braylon Allen's the
same with
kind of guy that
Estime.
if we hadn't taken J.K. Dobbins, I think would be far more inclined to.
Yes.
He's also worked, like he's played a lot of football.
He has plays.
Look, I'm thinking Cameron Kinchins.
Okay.
Personally, for safety.
I'm happy with that, and to learn and develop. You rightly pointed out again is that
He can
room
tackle,
is-
man. We need a safety that can tackle.
and the room is very. I mean, Samra still has that adaptability. So we're taking two perhaps more deep. I mean, Samra still is a cornerback. I get that, but we're taking DBs. Cameron Kinchins, I'm happy from Miami. Let's do it. Okay. So as we go, Norzad's gone. Brendan Rice, one of the charge. He's gone. He's gone.
Devondre Sweat snaffled up
Devondre Sweat was snaffled up.
late 4th round.
Whoa.
That's kind of okay, to be honest. Let's have a look. Just scroll up a little bit on the guys who have been taken.
So
There's one or two names on the defensive interior. Just go up a little bit further.
so Devondre Sweat stays in his home state, stays in Texas. Where are we? Halfback Mackay Wingo goes defense.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm okay with that.
Jarian Jones. Yeah, interesting. I think Cameron Kitchens, with the way the board has fallen, is actually a really good pick. Jamari Thrash goes immediately after. As I said, we don't need that now because we picked up Harrison in the first round.
Yeah, and I still think there's like more of a slot value and speed value further down.
Yeah, agreed. Norzad goes to the Seahawks.
And Taj Washington might have been one of those guys.
Yeah. Blake Watson. So Braylon Allen goes to Denver. As I said, so Brendan Rice seems to be very close with the Chargers at the moment. I still think maybe, what did he picked up in the 4th or 5th round? I don't know. That still might be a bit high for Brendan Rice, but Estime, how do you say his name? Estime goes.
Once again, another one of those backs that if we hadn't picked up Dobbins, probably would have fit the
agreed.
group a little bit better.
Yeah. Eichenberg. I actually quite like Eichenberg as a player. He goes to Baltimore. Best case scenario for him. But geez, where are we sitting? Gosh. Oh, Dwayne Carter's there.
Yeah.
From Duke. Okay.
I'm probably less hot on Leonard Taylor. Let's just have a look at who we've got on the defensive interior that's left. Yeah, okay. Kind of Tyler Davis areas.
Yeah.
Yeah, see,
McKinley Jackson, Gabe Hall. Yeah, Miles Murphy.
And then you sort of
Now we're sort of scraping the bottom.
you're
of the
looking at
barrel.
like depth piece if you have
Very much so. Yeah, sort
from
of
there on.
5th string, 4th string.
Dwayne Carter is probably the best name of those guys available.
Yeah.
Ranked 136 on the PFF board. He has been taken quite high in some cases. A name that I would have loved to have seen, who I think just disappeared far earlier because of the potential for such a high ceiling, is the Michael Hall Jr.
From Ohio State.
And
Yeah.
look, in this situation, that's just as much as you'd love it, isn't it? He goes to Kansas City, hangs out with Chris Jones, and pisses us
And
off.
Karl Aftis and all those guys that they drafted.
Yeah,
Far
and
out.
pisses us off for at least another 4 years.
Yeah.
Dwayne Carter has okay production. I think a 3-year captain at Duke.
Yep.
There's like a head on the shoulders, aware of what's going on around him.
I think you pick him. I mean, if we're looking at, I know that we're not taking the needs, super seriously for with the PFF says, but we've hit on wide receiver, we've hit on tight end, we haven't hit a linebacker, but we've hit CB. So I still think taking guard high, I think the defensive interior needs to be shored up. So I'd be very happy taking Dwayne Carter at 140 here.
Yeah,
Will Shipley there.
I don't mind Maris Liufau.
Yeah.
Liufau. We really should have checked out that
Pronunciation guy.
pronunciation guide that Al posted up on Twitter, which he's just sent me while he's on holiday.
Yeah. Alistair, enjoy your holiday. Stop watching tape. Just enjoy Bali.
His poor wife, golly. Yeah,
Look, Luke McCaffrey's there.
Yeah, see, I think with the chatters of, 2 to 3 guys, because bear in mind, like we're not going to fill every hole. The team's not going to fill every hole this draft, and they are working diligently to bring guys into the building, this week, heading up into the draft, get an idea of what the chances are of, getting a vertical threat, an MVS or a Chark, or getting a year out of like an ex-receiver in Michael Thomas. Less inclined to sort of feel like now that we've landed Marvin Harrison Jr. that we need to then pick up a different style of running back. Do I think that like a Luke McCaffrey would be the best player available here? No, I don't. No. So I don't. I see that as being frivolous.
It really feels like they're going to round out that wide receiver room with veterans. They're just going to pick, like they did with OBJ at Baltimore, taking sort of that approach of, finding those guys, kind of what KC have done. I mean, I know Rashee Rice is in a bit of hot water at the moment, but, they're still winning with veterans on 1 or 2 year deals. They know this, they know schemes, they know what they need to do. They've got sure hands, which is something that we don't necessarily have in QJ. And, Josh Palmer, I don't know if he's going to be healthy either. So, so what are we doing? Are we going to go linebacker or are we going to go defensive interior?
Well, now that I've just sort of brushed up on the stats there, I knew a little bit more about Luafau than Jordan McGee, but we've got a lower missed tackle rate, lower average depth of run tackle, higher run defense and pass rush grades, higher coverage grade, 3 years, and pretty steady incremental growth in output. So
he's played a bit of football too. He's played close to 30 games, over 30 games of football.
You are looking at like a lower sort of competition with being from Temple than from Notre Dame. So
I still think big boys are sitting there. That Dwayne Carter just looks too good.
Yeah, I agree with you, man.
Ooh, all right, Dwayne Carter, it is. All right, snag him. Okay, now we're really getting into the doldrums here. So please bear with us. We don't know absolutely everyone in this draft, but we're picking at 181 next. And so now I guess the discussion is, where do we go from here? So it's more about bodies and where do we look to shore up some depth? Yeah.
Okay, so with what we've taken so far, just a little recap: wide receiver, cornerback, guard, tight end, safety, defensive interior. So notable kind of positions of need, I'd say linebacker.
Yep.
I would say probably...
Perhaps a running back.
Yeah. Maybe, I think at this point, defensive interior again.
Again?
Would be probably just behind running back.
Yep. I mean, there are a few linebackers still sitting here, which is interesting.
Bo Limmer, the center from Arkansas.
So do you just go...
Jordan Travis even. There's been a lot of chatter of like value of taking this guy. Have we been able to hit enough to feel the luxury of taking a Jordan Travis?
Yeah.
Are there, Kamani Vidal is a running back that has a bit of zing in him. And then, you kind of just...
Sort of getting into some guys now. Yeah, Johnny Dixon.
Actually, another guy that at this point, with where the running back room sits, it's probably a little high, picking at 181. But Isaac Garendo is a really physical, athletic running back, the Louisville guy. I get vibes of Isaiah Pacheco. I get vibes of him.
Yeah, okay. Runs hard.
And, he was a 7th round pick, right?
Yeah, he was, yeah.
He's been like in the top 10 pretty consistently of some of our, I guess, favorite sort of draft and analysts.
I mean, we also haven't shored up center at all.
No, you're right. Because for me, I don't actually know Christian Haynes' sort of versatility on that line. Is it more guard, possibly tackle stuff, or is it guard center Pure interior.
I'd probably be looking pure interior. I think he's got a bigger body that doesn't necessarily translate to centre that well.
Right. So you're just looking at like a run,
A big
mauling.
run grader, a road grader, as they say. And you look at, you look at Bo Limmer's gap grade as a centre and his zone grade. I mean, he's very, in terms of PFF, quite clearly excels at the gap slightly more than zone blocking. And he's played a bit of football. It looks like he's relatively experienced. I don't know too much about this guy, but it seems like he's played a lot of snaps at. He played mostly 2023 at centre. Before that, he was a right guard, and he played. He's playing almost 1,000 snaps in his first 2 years.
Yeah, in each of them.
In each of them,
6'5", 307. And there's.
It seems to be something he's dropped because he's rated as PFF's. He's been average draft position was quite high at 135, but has dropped in recent months. So whether there's an injury, we're not sure about, or there's something going on.
Yeah, I can't help but feel like there was something that I've heard or read about an injury.
Okay.
Maybe even late in the season. So if you just sort of look at his trends, where are we sitting? Yeah, so that's kind of like the start of the year. That could be like an end of season injury.
Yeah.
That's now cost him and
he's dropped,
improved, and
then dropped quite a long way.
Seemingly like plummeted.
Yeah,
of late.
absolutely
So
plummeted.
touted around that early 100 mark, and now it's like where he is now.
Well, he was being taken in the late second round early on.
Yeah. That could also be a product of playoffs, Senior Bowl.
Yeah,
all that
anything.
kind of stuff.
Yeah, all that. Well, I don't know. Do we just go? Do we take a punt on Guarendo? Because remember, we don't pick again for another 40 or so picks.
Yeah.
Kamani Vidal.
Really high elusive rating, good zone grade, good gap grade, 92.4 this year, right? 5'8", 218. So he's definitely that smaller.
He's a
smaller mold.
Yeah. I mean, he's almost 24, so he does have a bit of wear on the tyres, as they say.
Not too much tread left.
Not too much tread left. Yes. Yeah, using that correctly. Do we take Kamani or do we take Guarendo? What do you think? Let's go running back. Let's take a running back. Let's do it. Let's go. I want to find Pacheco. I want to find a hard runner.
Well, let's look. I don't know how dissimilar these guys would be, right? 6'1", he's a bit bigger. 6'1", 225. Okay, so he's
bigger, yeah.
Much bigger. But you've got a pretty good elusive rating. As I said, like this guy's athletic.
Yards after contact.
His gap grade's good. Yards after contact's good.
Yeah, Louisville.
I'm inclined to think that this guy projects better than Kamani Vidal. So.
Okay, let's take him. Done. Running back. Ticked off. So we now have a full running back room.
Yeah.
And now we're into the doldrums. We are into the winless.
The comp pick areas.
The comp pick areas of just.
Or Chargers comp pick areas.
And what do we need to do to wind out? We might not take too long on this. So what can we do to round out? We need some bodies at linebacker. We need some special teamers. So we need some speed. What are we going to go? I wouldn't draft a defensive interior this late. Normally they're just not strong enough. Same thing on the offensive line. Their technique, you're really betting on their upside here rather than anything else.
Yeah, I don't know too much about Casey Washington, the
Illinois fighting Illinois. Yeah.
6'2", 200.
Yeah.
Probably not.
No.
In our area. Jalen Simpson's, I mean, we've taken safety, so I'm keen to sort of let that one slide.
Frank Gore Jr. sitting there?
Yeah, you've also got a couple of like QB3.
Yeah.
Joe Milton.
Just for camp bodies.
Kind of, yeah.
Or practice squad bodies.
I would look higher at Joe Milton as a, how long have we got?
Stick for.
Another year?
Let's take Milton. He's there, quarterback.
We'll get absolutely canned like the Chargers did last year for drafting Max Duggan, even at pick 7. I'm sure Kev will be hitting golf balls well into the pond
After hearing that.
after hearing that one.
And then now it's just guys.
It is special team.
Should we go Deshaun Fenwick? Just because I like his name. Train
I actually
Knox.
kind of like the name Delmar Glaze.
Okay.
You know, I feel like that's something you chuck on a fancy donut.
Let's do Delmar Glaze then. Just pick Delmar Glaze. We're picking him off his name.
We'll wrap this up.
Let's wrap it up.
Otherwise, it's kickers. David Ugwebo.
Ugwoegbu.
Yep.
There's Tungavailoa there. You've got a Tungavailoa sitting at quarterback there. Josh Wallace, Trent. Oh, maybe take a Michigan. Maybe you're taking Josh Wallace as a body from Michigan. Let's do that.
Or Trent Jones.
Or Trent Jones. Trente Jones? That's a shocking way to spell Trent. TRNTE. Trente. Let's take Josh Wallace. Trent Jones. Big boy tackle.
We're going to take a tackle.
All right. Well,
We're going to wrap it up with a tackle.
Well,
Okay.
I wonder what people. I don't know. I'd give that an A.
Well, let's see what PFF grades us. It's pretty fun. You take this kind of with a grain of salt, but
Yeah. What are they giving? A minus in the end. At the end, so Marvin Harrison's an A plus. Mikey Sainristil's an A minus. Christian Haynes is a B plus in round 3. Cade Stover's an A minus there. Cameron Kitchens is B minus. Dwayne Carter A minus. Garendo and Milton both Bs, and then Trent Jones is a C plus. Not one of our better ones.
yeah, I
would have liked to see an A grade. But
that was an A grade. A
but
minus,
like a
Such a
solid
teacher.
A. Yeah,
Such a
not
teacher.
in the lower half.
Yeah.
Or the lower quarter. But I still think if we walked away with Marvin Harrison Jr., Sainristil, Haynes, Stover, Kitchens, and then Carter as your first sort of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 picks, I reckon you're doing all right.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I don't hate it, but I'm also like the way I've been sort of processing it myself, doing these mocks and thinking about how the landscape will look next Thursday in US time or Friday our
For
time.
us, yep.
The more picks, the better. The more I listen to Hortiz speak, we want as many picks as we can. They're signposting that come and get pick 5. I think even if Harrison was on the board and the Chargers are picking it at 5, they're still answering the phone.
Oh, 100%.
They're still answering the phone because they can get value, and that philosophy of like pick 5 is essentially pick 1. If that is the situation and Marvin Harrison is there, it's bring in a bounty.
Oh, yeah.
For teams to come and get him.
Because a team that feels like they're close will feel like they want to give maybe a first round, maybe 2 first round picks, whether one's a future and maybe a player, or they want to give a first, second, and a player for Marvin Harrison Jr. I think he's probably worth it if you've got the quarterback situation down at your organisation. Because I think he is almost franchise altering. But again, if you don't have the quarterback to get the ball to him, he's not much use.
Yeah.
So that kind of rounds out our no trade draft. Yeah.
That was pretty fun. It's a weird one because I'm answering the phone every single time to see what kind of to see what sort of
See what you can get.
see what I can get. Exactly right. So yeah, we're going to take a little break.
I think so. Yeah, that was really fun.
And we'll happily start picking up the phone and see what we can get for pick 5 and see how a trade included mock draft lands with us. So bear with us, guys. We'll just quickly call Al, see what he thinks.
Yeah.
And we'll be back soon.
Cool.
Catch you then on TDU.
So yeah.
Whoa.
Back pedals looking, firing. He's got Floyd turning. Got it. Zigzag. 10, 5, high step. Touchdown. San Diego.